the minutes for January 14th, 2014. Has everyone had a chance to read those yet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, what is your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the minutes as read. All those in favor, let it be known by the sign aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. All right. Our minutes for the special meeting on January the 28th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we accept the minutes on the special meeting on January the 28th of 2014.
All right.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Correction, I did not open up.
Use your mic.
Oh. On Tuesday, January 28th, Ms. Zero was not the one to call the meeting to order.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, with those corrections, I move that we accept the minutes as read with the corrections.
All right.
Second.
All right. It has been properly moved and seconded that we accept the minutes with the necessary corrections. All those in favor, let it be known by the sign aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. At this time, we're ready for our staff report. We'll begin with Captain Blanchett of the Daytona Beach Police Department.
Thank you. First of all, I want to welcome the new members. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am Captain Blanchett. I am in charge of District 1, everything west of the railroad tracks. So I'd like to give a little update on how the district is doing each time you all meet. But before I do, one of the things I want to pass out to the board is I have a crime mapping instructional guide. I put this together. For those of you who are not familiar with that crime mapping, it is a great tool to where you can pull up on the internet all of the crimes that are happening within the district, within the city, and you can take a look in the Midtown Redevelopment area. You can see specifically by dates. It's searchable. You can see what crimes are happening, when they're happening, where they're happening. It's a fantastic tool. So this is a step-by-step as to how you get there. And once you get there, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's some check boxes up top with all the crimes. And you can select which ones you want to see, which ones you want to blank out of view. You can select the size of the map, where the map, the dates. It's really a great tool. So just in case you're not familiar with that, please go on there if you have a chance, take a look, explore, and you can see everything that I'm going to tell you, the crimes. I'm going to give you statistics, but the specific crimes you will be able to see through the city's website. And everything you need to know how to get there is right there in that pamphlet. All right, let's talk crime. These numbers they just came out, and what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the percentages. For the district-wide, total Part 1 crimes. Once again, Part 1 crimes are things like homicide, auto thefts, burglaries, larcenies, robberies, aggravated batteries and assaults. For all of those types of crimes, currently compared to last year, we're down 13%. 13% is a great number. My goal before the summer months, I'm hoping to be down 20% before we go into the summer months when the kids are off of school, because we often see a spike in crime when the kids are out of school. As you well know, idle hands are the devil's workshop. So I'm hoping to push that to negative 20% before the summer months hit. Keep our fingers crossed. Let's break this down a little bit further as to how this compares to last year. Auto thefts, we are down 37% as compared to the same time last year. Burglaries, we are actually an increase of 31%. This is because our residential burglaries, we've seen a huge spike in that, and we're 47% higher than we were this time last year. So we have our eyes on this residential burglary problem. But in larcenies, we're down 16%, with shopliftings being down by 31%, which is a huge number for us. As you might remember from last year, our shopliftings were out of control. So it's nice to see those numbers at a negative. Robberies, we are down 20%, which is great. And our aggravated assaults and batteries, they're down by a negative 23%. Which all of these numbers combined, including the firearms offenses, which we are down 34%, which is huge, and domestic violence is currently down 5%. All of these numbers average up to a negative 13% for the district, which is wonderful news. All right, as you well know, it is Bike Week. Bike Week is upon us, and it is very busy. A lot of visitors in town, a lot of motorcycles, so I ask each and every one of you, please be cautious when you're driving around the city, as it can get congested, and a lot of these people in town try to use back roads to avoid some of this construction, some of this congestion, so please be careful when you're out and about. With that, I would like to open up any questions, comments, anything I can answer for you?
All right.
No?
Mr. Bahu, do you have any questions for the captain?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I do want an update, if you can give us an update. You had said the last time you were here that there was some new technology that we were going to be using.
Right.
Where are we in the process?
Well, we're hoping that we can have implementation within summer months. We still don't have a go-live date, an official go-live date, because we would have to train officers who are actually going to fly in the aircraft on how to use this equipment. So we don't know how long that training is going to take. We also have to be cautious because not all of our officers who we're finding out are keen to flying. So it doesn't bother me necessarily. So yes, you have to be okay with flying. And in a small aircraft, which is vastly different than a large aircraft, you feel a lot more apparently. So, but if I have a date, a specific go-live date at that board meeting, I will be sure to let you know.
Okay, and also, you also gave us some information about hiring new officers?
Yes. That's great. I'm glad you brought that up. We have 5 out there in FTO phase, which is our phase 2. They are riding around with full-time law enforcement officers. They have to do that for 12 weeks before they are cut out on their own. We have 5 in that program. We have 12 that are in phase 1, which is our classroom phase, before they actually go out into the FTO phase when they ride with another officer. We have 12 of those. They're slated to hire another 9 here at the end of Bike Week. That will bring us up to what we are fully staffed to what we're allowed to. Now, there's also information that the city manager is going to make a determination in the summer, possibly April, maybe June, April, May, June sometime, that he might allow us to go up 10 more, which is great. We can fill a lot of vacancies within the police department, so that's all good news.
I just appreciate you and the chief and the staff doing a great job. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ross?
Oh, not at this time.
Okay.
Dr. Jameson? Mr. Fuqua?
No, not at this time.
Mr.
No, sir, not at this time.
All right. Vice Chair?
No, not at this time, but thank you for all the work that you all do, and
thank you.
especially during Bike Week.
And I will see you this weekend.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Be safe.
All right, thank you. Bye now.
And we want to ditto that, Captain Blanchett. We appreciate your work.
Thank you.
At this time, has everyone had a chance to look through the code enforcement report? Are there any concerns on that particular report? I do want to say that I have seen code enforcement out driving in force and actually trying to find the different things that are going on. I have to give them a compliment where they deserve it. And they're doing a good job about trying to get out and get around and see things. One of the go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to know what is going on MS South, MLK, and Bellevue, the area between Wells Lane and Bellevue, overgrown grass on curbs, in the streets. Have you gotten in touch with the city yard?
Yes, we have been in touch with Public Works, and that will come during the redevelopment project update.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yeah.
I've noticed, again, we've had this report every month from time to time, and some of it seems to be the same lots in the same areas. Are we doing anything, or are we helping the resident? Maybe there's some elderly resident. Are we putting anything in place, or are there any programs or anything in place to help some of those residents to get off this list? That's free, that doesn't charge them or tax them?
Well, that's a good question. Do you have an answer for that?
But we do occasionally, I go to all the code enforcement board meetings and try to work with the residents as they do come before them with different issues and try to work through them as well as we can. We do refer them to different organizations that are sororities, fraternities, and different organizations. Bethune Cookman does a lot of community service, and we try to assist them as best as we can. We refer them to different people that might have a problem with paint issues. We found out that there are some paint companies that might be willing to assist them with that, and then we have organizations that will go out and assist with the painting. So we do try to help them as much as we can.
And I know you're doing a great job identifying and so forth. The concern is that some of these addresses show up over and over again, and I'm thinking it might be elderly or folks that are unable. Personally, I know folks that are in the hospital for 2 months, and there's no way you can go cut grass in 2 months. And I'm just trying to find out what's out there. Is there anything that we can do, maybe locally as a community, to help support some of our citizens and to get them off this list?
Well, if we know about it, if you know someone that is in need of assistance, if they will contact me, I'll try to make contact with one of our local organizations to try to assist them.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other comment on the code enforcement?
Yes, one other question.
Okay.
Code enforcement. I have been asking and mentioning about cars parking on the sidewalk down on Martin Luther King and Magnolia. And I know the policemen pass by at night, and why the citizens do not want to follow the rules, I don't know. But if pressure has to be placed on them, please put pressure on them, because the sidewalk and up near the building is not the place to park. It takes away from the community, the neighborhood.
Okay. All right.
I was just going to mention one other thing back to the seniors. We'll go ahead and also pass that along to the people that oversee the code enforcement in terms of asking if there's some kind of program. And the other thing is to mention that the Council on Aging that's downtown here on Beach Street is also a resource. And I know people do go over there to get assistance, the senior citizens do. Okay.
Okay. All right. We thank you for standing in on that, Mr. Bryant. We're going to go ahead and go with item number 7 at this time. The action item, DEV 214-022 Dollar General.
Mr. Chairman and Board, this is site plan agenda item number 7, DEV 2014-022 Dollar General. This is a staff report. The applicant is Mr. Perry C. Jenwright, the third engineer on behalf of HSC Daytona ISB LLC. The project is Dollar General. It's new construction. The location for the project is 825 West International Speedway Boulevard. Request board action, review the proposed site plan as required by Article 4, Section 8.2C of the Land Development Code. Review application pursuant to the appearance standard for the redevelopment area as required by Article 3, Section 5.1 of the Land Development Code. The board with final approval is the Midtown Redevelopment Board. The project description: Dollar General is a proposed retail business located on the south side of West International Speedway Boulevard at the intersection of Franklin Street. The applicant is proposing to construct a new commercial building for the retail business. The site is currently an automobile sales business. The Land Development Code, LDC, Article 5, subsections and site plans, Section 4.1, site plans require site plan for a site for new construction. The site plan review. Article 4, Section 8.3 of the LDC, the reviewing body in reviewing a site plan shall consider whether the proposal is consistent with all applicable policies of the comprehensive plan and whether any conflict in policy would be created. The land use and compatibility. The majority of the site is designated retail on the city's future land use map. The retail use designation permits commercial development with floor area ratios of up to 3. The net floor area ratio of the proposed building is 10,208 square feet, and the project has a FAR of 0.19. The site is currently automobile sales and retail. The rear portion of the site adjacent to Lockhart Street is designated Level 2 residential on the city's future land use map. The applicant is proposing to place stormwater retention in the portion of the property designated residential. The site was previously developed with an automobile sales use, and the proposed retail use is a compatible use with the adjacent retail uses along West ISB. Adjacent land uses and zoning classifications. To the north is retail, university, Level 2 retail, and the zoning is BA, business automotive. To the south is single family. The land use is Level 2 residential. The zoning classification BA, business automotive. To the east is retail. The land use designation is retail, and the zoning classification is BA, business automotive. To the west, motorcycle sales and service. Land use designation is retail, and the zoning classification is BA, business automotive. The current zoning is BA, business automotive. The purpose of this district is to provide for the appropriate location of offices, retail sales and service, and to promote functional groupings of office and commercial uses for the convenience of the public and for the mutual benefit of uses within each district. Retail sales and service is a permitted BA use. It meets the requirements for the structures, which are basically the minimum lot width, depth, lot area, setbacks, rear, front, side, and the building height. Yeah. The site arrangement, the site plan includes a proposed retail commercial structure located in a 1.23 acre site. The building is located in the rear of the property with parking in front of the building. The stormwater retention pond is located in the rear of the site and will provide a buffer to the residential uses behind the site. Parking and traffic flow. The project is required to provide 36 parking spaces based on the gross floor area of the proposed building, and 32 are proposed. 4 additional parking spaces need to be added to the site plan to meet the Land Development Code requirements. The ingress and egress has been reviewed and approved by the city's traffic manager. The site plan provides for safe access for emergency vehicles and has been reviewed by the fire department. Site landscaping. The proposed landscaping plan does not comply with all of the landscape requirements in the Land Development Code. The landscape plan is required to include a minimum number of small trees based on the linear feet of landscape area. The proposed landscape plan proposes 14 small trees for 1,104 linear feet of landscape area. Article 18, Section 2.8 limits the planting of palm trees to 25% of the total number of required shade and small trees. The landscape plan proposes 14 palm trees for the required small trees. The total number of trees on the landscape plan is 52. Only 13 of the trees may be replaced by palm trees and are required to be planted in pairs. The perimeter landscape area along West International Speedway Boulevard includes overhead utility lines that create a conflict for planting shade trees. Article 18, Section 2.9 allows for the replacement of required shade trees with small ornamental trees, 1.5 small tree for each required shade tree. The perimeter landscape area along West ISB is required to have 5 shade trees. Due to the overhead utility lines in the landscape area, 8 small ornamental shade trees could replace the shade trees. Attached in this package are the landscape plans, which you have detailed the proposed landscaping improvements. Signage. The applicant is proposing a wall sign on the north elevation and a monument sign in the front yard. The proposed signs are permitted in the BA zoning district. The final sign designs would have to meet the redevelopment design standards for signs. Design guidelines and requirements for redevelopment districts. They are basically project, architect, building scale, and building materials, which this design meets all these requirements by the redevelopment, the land development code. In closing, the recommendation is staff recommends that the Midtown Redevelopment Area Board approve the site plan for the project known as Dollar General, located at 825 West International Speedway Boulevard, subject to any outstanding staff comments, including revisions to the landscape and parking plans to comply with applicable land development code standards. We do have a representative from Dollar General here tonight. He's actually, I think he's the project manager, Mr. Scott Reams, did I pronounce right? Okay. He's here to answer any question regarding the project. Also, I did put on the podium in front of you letters that have been sent out to Dollar General asking regarding the market store that they have requested. Those letters went forward to corporate headquarters. They are not to be considered in your site plan review tonight. Those are requests that went forward to corporate headquarters. We do have people that I'm sure tonight will be speaking on the letters that they sent for that request. But I just want to remind you that that is not a part of the process that we're looking at tonight. We're looking at the site plan. But they do have a right to disclose to you and speak for 2 minutes on the letters that they sent forward to Dollar General. But at this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Reams, and he can...
Just before then, Charles.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Could you, thank you. Would you explain just a little bit more, what do these letters deal with?
Okay. The Dollar General, I think it's in New Smyrna Beach or in some area, they have a store that's geared toward fruits and vegetables. Because Midtown has been declared a food desert.
Yes. Well, you answered my question already. Thank you.
I have a question for your staff. What's the difference between Dollar General and a convenience store? Maybe they could answer that question better than you. But I'm kind of curious. I thought we had a moratorium on type of convenience stores coming to our community. And Dollar General is, for me, for my purposes, it's a convenience store for all practical purposes. And why is it that we're giving them consideration and we don't give any other people consideration?
I think.
Mr. Berger?
It's size. The definition of a convenience store is under the 5,000 square feet.
Right.
So larger stores than that, like a 7-Elevens, and some of them are.
So we could have 7-Elevens and that kind of stuff, but we can't have other types of smaller businesses in the neighborhood. Why are we discriminating against smaller companies and not the rest of the folks in our community? It's the same thing, and they still come into our community, they leave, and I don't see the quid pro quo. What is the consideration? And of course, we can't consider the vegetables and that kind of stuff. That would be a difference for me for all practical purposes. But for me, I don't see the difference between a Dollar General and a convenience store other than the size.
We're going to have that issue, whether you're talking about service stations, gas stations, which are morphing into convenience stores. You've seen all the Sunoco's and some of the other...
Well, they're not consistent then.
Well, what I'm saying is the question is, the definition is consistent in that anything that is over the 5,000 square feet does not fall under the convenience store classification by definition of the Land Development Code.
If there's over 5,000 square feet, there's not a convenience store, is what you're saying to me.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right. And just before the applicant comes up, if there's anyone else who wishes to speak on this topic, we've gotten 2 speakers. Anyone else that wishes to speak, please fill out the green sheets here on the front. And anyone that wishes to speak on any of the topics, please fill out one of those green sheets for us. All right, Mr. Reams.
Good evening, Chairman Tooley, board members. My name is Scott Reams. I'm the Director of Development for Hicks Snedeker Companies located in Daphne, Alabama. And I'm pleased to be before you this evening to answer any questions you may have or additional questions with respect to our project. We are very excited to be a part of Daytona Beach. We have begun our first project, which is under construction within the city on A1A up by the McDonald's near the Ormond line. We started construction this past week, and we're excited with that. We anticipate our completion of that project to be the end of May, and therefore we are eager to get going on our project here so I can move my team directly into mode here to get the store under construction. If I may, Board Member Miller, add to the definition as we see it, is I'm a developer, I do not work for Dollar General. We are an independent development company, and we develop on behalf of them in multiple areas around the United States. Dollar General is a company in size of over 11,000 stores across the United States. Their typical store size, the store size here is actually 9,100 square feet. The building is 70 by 130. So we may need to address the number of parking places because with the correct building floor area, the parking spaces would adjust, but we can deal with staff on that matter. With respect to the product mix, that is a great question. What is the difference? Dollar General is a general merchandise store. They carry apparel for women, children, men, and other product mixes that you typically would not see in a defined convenience store, which would perhaps offer petroleum features and things of that nature. We have a multitude of refrigerated cooler and frozen cooler space within the store to offer refrigerated products and frozen food products as well. To address the market, and that's an excellent question, Dollar General makes those decisions as to where they place a Dollar General or Dollar Market store, which is in New Smyrna Beach, which is a much larger store. It features more as a grocery store, if you will. It actually took over an old grocery store space. They make those decisions based on their market research as to where they locate those stores. We have no input with respect to location of type of brand. Dollar General has their Dollar General store and their market. Those are 2 concepts that they have. With respect to staff and the comments, we have had the opportunity to review the comments from the staff and are aggressively working on those. I spoke to my engineer and my architect on the way down here this evening, and I believe we'll be pretty close to be able to resubmit first of next week. We're trying to get in for this Thursday, but it may be the first of next week to address all of the comments. The landscaping comment seems to be the most complex, if you will, and to Mr. Bryant's comments with respect to the overhead lines, we cannot obviously put trees there, so we're adjusting our plan accordingly, and we'll make those corrections through our landscape architect. With respect to the other comments that were made on the preliminary meeting, that we had. There was a comment with respect to pedestrian safety. We have met with respect to the curb cut on International Speedway Boulevard with the Florida Department of Transportation, and we have actually realigned the cut more to the middle of the property, which is a much safer turning movement. And under the comments from the Florida Department of Transportation, have basically they've approved the plan conceptually. We're ready to submit our final plans for permitting through FDOT, but we have had those meetings. The other comment was with respect to job creation. That's always an important thing when you're going into the community. As general fund dollars are shrinking in budgets every day, what will this bring to the table? We anticipate as we're an independent developer, that the stores typically are between 8 and 10 employees per store. And I'm happy to address any other questions that the board may have.
Employees, 8 or 10, that's the full staff, or is that one shift?
That is my opinion of the overall hiring that the store will have. Again, I don't have any direct impact with that, but.
And in general terms, is it the company policy to hire local people?
I cannot comment on that. I have no control over what the company does. But I would invite you to view their webpage. It is very informative, dollargeneral.com. They have a lot of information about their company. They're a publicly traded company, so they obviously everything is disclosed. It's a very informative website about their products, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
Did you have other questions, Ken?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have one, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think I heard that staff recommendations have not been addressed at this particular time. Is that true?
I'm sorry, restate your question?
Staff had some questions that haven't been answered.
Well, there's 2 items in your memorandum that we spoke to. That's the parking and the landscape. There's some deficiencies there that he just mentioned they're addressing.
So you're not asking us to approve this at this particular time, especially when that hasn't been addressed yet, are you?
Yes, we are. We're just saying that essentially everything has been completed except for these deficiencies, and I don't know if they're going to reduce what happened. Part of this appears to be the size of the building changed from the initial building size to making it a little bit bigger, and that added some spaces.
I have a problem with that because I just went through this whole development myself, and I couldn't even come up here until everything was satisfied by staff. How come that they could come before this board and they haven't met all the requirements by staff?
No comment on that?
Not yet. Let him finish. Then we'll get you, Dr. Jameson.
I've asked my question.
Well, first of all, I think the 2 unresolved issue was the 2 parking spaces or 4 parking spaces and the trees. I think that's the thing that we resolved, and you have recommendations for those, right?
Yes, Board Member Jameson. Those are the 2 items that we're working through with staff, and our team is completely confident that we can address both of those.
Yeah, I see you outlined the proposal there. But what was addressed in the previous meeting was the notification of the residents around the area. Do you know if they made any effort to just say, hey, we come into town, or just say we're about to move in your neighborhood?
When we met with the board in January as a courtesy item before we had gone through the formal process, that was a comment made. I do not know if there's been any notice given to the local residents. We're obviously not required to do that, but being a good neighbor, I cannot answer your question directly. I know I personally have not done that.
So in essence, what we're saying is that we're
Mr. Miller. Mr. Barhu?
Okay. I had 2 comments, and it goes back to a former meeting. One was the safety, which you addressed. We were concerned about our citizens crossing ISB back and forth and the traffic flow there, so you certainly addressed that. The second one was, again, going back to Dr. Jameson, where we were looking at notifying or getting with the community, more so based on the landscaping and having a buffer zone in there, making sure that it was buffered well enough so it doesn't interfere with the activities of the community or the citizens that's nearby. Those were my concerns. And when you're looking at the landscaping, and I know you have to do some readjustment, and I heard you say that, the concern with me still would be making sure there's enough buffer between the business and the resident to buffer the noise so it doesn't impact them in a negative way.
I believe the staff has gone to great lengths to ensure that we're meeting all the buffering requirements by code for the city, and we've actually improved what is existing today, both from landscaping, increased green space, and privacy fence, which none of those exist today.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Thank you for your question.
I was at the meeting on January, and I thought I heard someone say they was going to send letters out to the residents in the districts, and apparently they haven't been done. So I know I represent the people of Midtown Redevelopment, and I would definitely like for them to have some input, at least to let them know what was going on in the neighborhood. Apparently that haven't happened.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we talked about the letter and things like that, but as far as the city, are you all requiring them to do a letter?
No.
Thank you. That answers the question. The residents and businesses, the differences between the two.
And I think I can tell you, we always encourage anybody coming in and developing to try to meet with the people that are in the neighboring area. But it's not a requirement. It's not part of the law. It's simply a goodwill gesture for the people that are building the projects to talk to their neighbors.
Well, I talked to several people around there, and they are pretty much happy about Dollar General coming into the neighborhood there, and they're just waiting, and other things that we talked about too concerning that.
Mr. Miller.
The next question is the staff recommendations that haven't been addressed at this particular point. It's just amazing to me that we're here to approve them when they haven't met the basic requirements of staff. I couldn't come before this board until I met the requirements of staff. And I don't know why we're discriminating against people like me who are small business owners who reside in this community. And, you know, y'all can't meet through those types of changes, but we're saying to them, because they have 11,000 stores coming into our neighborhood, that they're exempt from that.
Well, I can only tell you that it has been customary for us to, when there are just a few items that need to be worked out with the staff and technical requirements that are part of being worked out, that we do make recommendations to move forward and allow that to happen, okay? And so if this board doesn't have to agree with staff and say, look, we want to see all of that done now, you know, and if you want to ask that they come back with a completed site plan, you can certainly do that. We're just simply trying to allow for this to move forward and get those final corrections done through the final site plan approval. Because when you say we approve, we always have an administrative final site plan we do for everybody. You're aware of that too. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may address that also. Staff recommendation is that the site plan be approved based upon the fact that these contingencies are met. It's not like you're approving it. If you read it in the language, it's saying they have to meet whatever requirements there are, because they have to go back through TRT. They're reviewed. It's reviewed by the redevelopment department, and it has to be signed off by myself, Jason, or Reed. So it's not like you give them a blanket approval. You're approving this site plan based upon they meet the requirements that TRT and the redevelopment department is saying. And that's the standard practice that we do for everybody. You had some on yours too, sir.
Mr. McGee?
With respect to how we're proceeding here, I've been an architect for projects from New York City to Dallas, and this is not an unusual way for us to proceed with a site plan in order to expedite, a good project. And personally, I consider this a good project for us to have here. And I'm most interested in, we don't see a floor plan. We see a building footprint. We don't see a floor plan, I don't see a floor plan, and I don't see elevations of this building. That's, could be called a pig in a poke, but that concerns me a little bit, but I've seen a lot of your stores, none of which have I really objected to. And I keep forgetting the one item. I would like to see a commitment on your all's part with respect to how you're dealing with foodstuffs. Like, what do you intend to sell in there? You say you have refrigeration, and if I'm not mistaken, it was it indicated to me a substantial amount of refrigeration, so that there could be fresh produce, fresh meat. You're shaking your head no?
I was going to let you finish your comments before I address, sir.
I was already worried about shaking your head no at that point.
I just wanted to clarify.
Other than that, and I can't name all the items that ought to go in a grocery store, but we are in fact a food desert?
Nutritional desert.
And we need to fix that, and we need your help. You need our help. That's the makings of a deal.
Your comments, Board Member McGee, are certainly noted, and if I may take them independently and address them, I would like to do so. With respect to the floor plan and elevations, we're going to submit, once the site plan is approved, a complete set of structural building documents for review, comment, and approval through the city's process, which will include all of the items, Board Member McGee, that you addressed. With respect to the food products, we cannot direct any comment with respect to what goods and products are sold within the store. To my knowledge, there are no, in a Dollar General store, there are no products with respect to fresh vegetables, meats, etc. The cooler space is designated for refrigerated product, be it milk, some frozen goods, and things like that. Again, I would direct you perhaps to the website for more information on that, but it is not a grocery store. I respect your comments with respect to the food desert. Again, I cannot address what type of product a Dollar General puts in the store or in the community. It certainly, the market store certainly wouldn't fit on this piece of property.
Who can address that?
Dollar General themselves. He does not. He's contracted by Dollar General.
When can we expect an answer from? We need some help.
Yeah. I don't know that they can address your question, candidly. I don't know that they're not a grocery store. If that's the product you're looking for, they cannot address that. And certainly with respect to our application, that's not an element of our application.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I know that there's going to be, I think we're going to get some people here addressing that issue. Staff has addressed the issue to corporate, and just to make them aware of what's going on, and you know, everyone we could reach out to. So that effort's ongoing, and it's important. It's a community effort, not a staff effort. And I think you'll hear that in just a minute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know. I'm saying, as for me, if we approve them and we have nothing, they really can come and do what they do normally and not meet the needs that we have. And we truly have a food desert in this community. And my quid pro quo means something for something. If we can get somebody to agree to that, I have no problem supporting it. But right now, they look like, to me, as a convenience store, the only difference is y'all don't sell petroleum. But, I know a lot of convenience stores that don't sell petroleum. So I don't see any difference between you and a mom and pop store. Y'all sell the toilet paper, y'all sell candy, ice cream, cookies, and this other type of stuff. The food that y'all sell is not fresh food at all. So I don't see how it's improving our community, personally. And if we approve it, then they don't even have to address that.
Dr. Jameson?
Dollar General, one of my favorite stores, has a specific, I guess, marketing plan, if you want to call it, and they sell X, Y, and Z. They sell that at every Dollar General from here to Kingdom Come. This is what they do. This is what they do well. Simply because they're moving into a specific neighborhood, what they sell, what they do, cannot be changed, specific to one neighborhood. In the selling of fresh food, fresh meat in a store requires things to occur that Dollar General does not do. Okay? They cannot do. They cannot ship in daily fresh food, fresh meat, fresh anything. That is not what Dollar General does, whatever. Okay, does. Okay, we do have a need for these things in the community, but Dollar General is not the place to do it. Everybody who's been in a Dollar General know what Dollar General sells. It is not a convenience store, but it does sell various things that is not done in a convenience store for less price. This is what Dollar General is. It is a Walmart, smaller with smaller prices. So what we're trying to do is make a Ford place be a BMW place. They each have their responsibilities. They each do certain things. Just because they're moving into this place doesn't mean that they change what their market is and what they do. Okay? Now, we do need, but Dollar General is not the place we're going to get this thing. They're not going to completely change their store just because they're moving into our area. What may occur, and we do need this Dollar General there, what may occur if you ask too much of them, they may not come. And I do believe that Dollar General near, I see somebody say, who cares? I care. I think you're asking something that they cannot do, and they cannot change their system simply because we won't. Okay. Okay. I'm finished.
One thing that I do need to make note of. First of all, this board is not here to determine what Dollar General puts in their stores. We are here to approve or not approve a site plan. We have nothing to do with who they hire. That's not our place. We are here as a quasi-judicial branch of the City of Daytona Beach to deal with the site plan. So all the other discussion, though it's very informative, has no place here. I do want to thank you, Mr. Reams, for your patience and bringing in a site plan.
Only owns one car, so 60% of the population has transportation challenges. Inequitable access to healthy food is a major contributor to health disparities, including obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Adult obesity rates are 51% higher in African Americans than whites. And studies that measure food store availability and access to healthy foods in nearby stores find disparities by race and income. Some of the strategies to increase healthy food access and wholesome foods in food deserts include attracting grocery stores to that area or community, and increasing the stock of fruits and vegetables and other healthy foods at neighborhood corner or small grocery stores. The Volusia County Health Department supports policies designed to increase access to healthy food in food deserts as an important strategy to decrease health disparities and improve the quality of life, especially in Volusia County and for those areas that are food deserts, including a market design and incorporating fresh fruits and vegetables would be one way that the Midtown Redevelopment Board can accomplish this. And so we just want to educate you on this important issue and the strategies that you can ask for in accomplishing this important goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Sorensen?
Good evening. I'm Bonnie Sorensen. I'm the director of the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County, otherwise known as the Health Department. And I live in New Smyrna, so I live within bicycle distance of the Dollar General Market. And I'm not going to repeat any of the statistics, all that Susie Grubbs and the passion that Johnny has, but I would be in full agreement with Board Member McGee and Board Member Miller that we do have a food desert here. Unfortunately, it's a community of low income, a community of color that is disadvantaged, and if I understand Dollar General doesn't have space to put a market, but they do have cooler and freezer space, and there's some recent evidence that even though they might not be able to drop ship fresh fruits and vegetables on a daily basis or every other daily basis, canned vegetables, canned fruit, and frozen fruit and vegetables are also a healthy option that if Dollar General is going to be a good neighbor to us, the least we could do is work with them to influence some of the products that they sell in their store in addition to their usual market. So thanks so much for your attention. Thanks so much for your educated support.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. And any further board comments on the site plan? At this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve action item.
Use your mic, please, ma'am.
I move that we approve action item DEV 2014-22 Dollar General.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we approve this site plan, and I am taking it that
With the recommendations.
with the recommendations by staff and the revisions to landscaping and the parking plans.
Yes.
You've heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, let it be known by the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Aye. The motion passes. Thank you for your input, sir. And we understand that you're in a precarious situation because all you're doing is dealing with the building, not what's in it. But we do appreciate your coming. Thank you to Ms. Ponder, Mrs. Grubbs, and Dr. Sorensen for coming out and speaking on the issue. At this time, we're ready for our redevelopment project updates.
Good evening again, Board. For today's redevelopment project update, I've invited Mr. Tony Diablo. Did I say that right? Close enough for government work. We always say that. He's with the Salvation Army, and I've been working with him over the last couple of months with the Salvation Army Street Team. And the reason I asked him to come out tonight is because we're going to have, we do have a Midtown Street Team. And I wanted him to come out and talk about it a little bit. And keep in mind, this street team was not funded with money from the city. This was a grant through the Salvation Army, and we are delighted to have them. And he's going to give you a little bit of information about it, and I'll help him answer any questions that you might have.
Good evening. Thank you. As Charles said, we have been able to take some of the funds that we have from various places, and we've been able to start a new streets team. Now, just to kind of remind folks what the streets team concept is, it's a work readiness program. So we will have a team of men and women who will be in the Midtown redevelopment zone. Their primary goal is to help them get ready to go back into the workplace. These will be individuals who have been chronically homeless, who we are trying to help get on their own 2 feet. The streets teams go out, they perform a function during the morning, such as cleaning the streets. One of the things that Mr. Berger and Charles and I have been working on is some new tasks for them to do, both to be more of an asset to the city as well as to help these folks develop some new skills. So again, in the morning they would go out. We will have a team of about 4 people. We'll go to the Midtown redevelopment area. They will clean the streets. They will perform different functions in the morning, and then in the afternoon, their purpose is to, some of them may want to go back to school. We work closely with Daytona State College. Some of them will, or most of them will be looking for jobs. They have a requirement to do at least 5 job searches a day. And again, our goal is to try to get these folks back to work within about a 6-month period. It's taken us a little bit longer in the past, but we are trying some new things to help the folks. But our goal is to be an asset to the community. Our goal is to be an asset to the men and women in the program, to help them to, again, get back on their feet. Some of these folks have been chronically homeless for a very long time. Some of them have shorter periods, but all of them have that readjustment problem as well as trying to identify a way to get back into the workplace. The streets team really gets them focused because they get up at the same time every morning. They get 3 square meals a day. They get back into the regimen of, showering, going to work, coming back from work, relaxing at the end of the day. I mean, we really tried to create a regimen with them to help structure their life back to a productive life. So when we had the opportunity to create, this would be our 3rd streets team, when we approached Mr. Berger and Charles, we said where, and what we realized was the Midtown was a good area that could use a little help, and I think these folks will be some help, as well as it'll be a way for them to stand tall. One of the things that we try to do, and I didn't come up with this, but one of our clients said this. He said, "It's not a handout; it's a hand up." And so everything we do is to try to help them get back into, as well as when they're out there, I'm hoping you folks will all see them, and you'll say they're helping make a difference. We actually started it. It's kind of come online. We have 4 individuals that are currently assigned to this particular section of the city, and we're anxious to get going.
Okay. Yep. And just so that the board knows, I'm very familiar with the street teams because of serving on the Community Development Block Grant Advisory Board, we did give grants for the street team. They do a wonderful job, and it's a great help to the individuals. And I'm sure some of the board members have some questions. We'll begin with Dr. Jamison, then Mr. Bahu.
Are these the same people that I see around the city library with the things on?
Yes, it is. What you'll typically see them either neon green T-shirts or a bright yellow raincoat, or what we're trying to do is get them a safety vest that identifies who they are so that folks do recognize them.
Okay.
But yes, different people, but same concept.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity to help someone reach up, certainly. And we were talking earlier about having resources. That's a great resource to take some of our lists and tie into that and make a difference in the Midtown area. This will be a great list to start with. It's about 50 items.
If I may, just to share a story, we had a young man who came through our program, and he had been homeless for over a year, and he came through our program, got a job at one of the local fast food places, part-time, and then he was moved to full-time, then he was moved to shift supervisor, and about a month ago he was just told that he is going to go to management school through the fast food company, so he will be the general manager of his own fast food restaurant.
That's great.
So it really does make a difference.
That's great.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
These folks who are homeless, because most of those individual places are in our community, and they're coming back to our community to help clean up the community. So that's a wonderful thing, and thank you staff very much for bringing that about.
One of the young ladies that is in our program now goes by the very spot she slept in for probably 3 months. And she said, it feels very good to go and give back.
That's great. Any other board comments? You want to finish your? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we recognize your wife there. We appreciate her being out.
I think, I forgot who it was, someone asked a question, I think it might have been Dr. Jameson, about the grass on MLK. That's one of the issues that we're looking at. We did have a meeting with Public Works, who basically supervise the street teams when they're out. We're trying to work out some new things that they could do, like Tony mentioned. We're trying to find out if they can work and do some other things other than pick up garbage. We've got some things on the beach side that they could help us clean out the garbage cans and things of that nature. So we're working with Public Works to see if we could get them to assist us in some of the other areas other than just picking up garbage. That's why I didn't say that. I wanted you to hear it from Tony.
All right. At this time, we have public comments, and to start things off, we have Dr. Evelyn Bethune and also Mr. John Mark McLeod.
I was hoping to go last. I like to close things out. The first thing I'd like to do is, of course, state my name, Dr. Evelyn Bethune. Address is 884 Winchester Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. And then I want to beg you for more than 2 minutes to do a presentation to you on the Mary McLeod Bethune Cultural Heritage Arts Festival. I always like to ask permission rather than forgiveness. So if that's okay. I have a brief PowerPoint, takes about 2 minutes, and then I have some comments afterwards, and I'll be done. Do I give this to you, Mr. Bryant? It's in a folder marked Midtown. You can't do it? If not, I can talk. It's okay. How are you?
Policy? Okay.
I'm not sure we can do that right. That's a policy. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's fine. I can talk to you about it. I dream about it. I've slept with it for many months now. We've talked about, for many of you, you have heard me come before you previously to talk about the Mary McLeod Bethune Cultural Heritage Arts Festival. It has been probably an ongoing planning project for the last 3 years. The board has changed a couple of times in the process, and now I'm greeting you new members. The festival will take place on April the 6th through the 13th of this year. And we are excited about it because we have gotten such encouragement and such positive response from across the country as it relates to this festival. I have given you information on the schedule, on various aspects of the festival, and some things that have come in the last recent weeks relating to participations. One of the reasons that it's probably taken us so long to get to you is that we did not get, even though our permit request has been in for over a year, we finally got the final stuff about 3 weeks ago. So it took a minute and I can't speak to the reason. I can only tell you that we got the final documents about 3 weeks ago. And we're appreciative for that. We have asked this group for support previously when we initially started this project, and the board voted to support the Mary McLeod Bethune Cultural Heritage Arts Festival. But because of the changes in personnel, I really felt it was necessary to come and get before you again to ask for your approval and your recognition of this event. This is not just a street party. Mary McLeod Bethune was an incredible African-American woman who is an American icon. And there is no one single event that recognizes her life, much of which she spent in the city of Daytona Beach. She founded Bethune-Cookman University, as you know, with $1.50 on a garbage dump. The return on that investment is quite substantial if you look at where the university is today. But not only that, she was an advisor to 4 United States presidents. She brought considerable resources to the city of Daytona Beach through the work that she did, not just for Daytona as an educator, but also as an American representative to a couple of foreign countries, being appointed the first African American to a national policy board. And so there is so much that represents her life that people don't know about or don't know enough about. This festival is the beginning of being able to really talk about the depth of who she was as a person. The process, Dr. Jackson will open with a education board with HBCU presidents from across the country. All of these events are open to the public. All but 2 of them are free. And so what we're asking is for the city, Midtown Board in particular, to invest in this project. We will have people coming into this city from across the country, and we will be taking them all over Midtown, because I also believe that this is an opportunity to show people what the possibilities are for investment in the Midtown district. We have many empty buildings. We have lots of vacant land. We have 3,000 students that are resident within walking distance of many of those empty buildings and vacant properties. Bethune-Cookman can build it up, but the community also needs to be a part of that process. And so what we're hoping for is to bring people in who are interested. We already have a gentleman who has bought a property on Mary McLeod Bethune, and we'll be developing that property so that it meets the guidelines that are in the vision plan. That's a part of the things that we are looking to do in the community that we live in. I intend to die right here in Daytona Beach. It has ocean, so I don't want to live anywhere else. But part of that is also making sure that the things I like, arts and culture, are available to me. I love motorcycles, I like car racing, but I also like jazz. I like the visual arts. and I believe other people in our community do too. And so we want to provide a mechanism annually that allows people to come from other places and appreciate our ocean, appreciate the arts and culture that we can bring in. Bethune-Cookman has given us carte blanche with facilities there to be able to utilize the Performing Arts Center, the grounds around it, and their students and their faculty and their staff. But we're also going to be in Daisy Stocking Park. We're going to do things at Cinematique downtown, Black Film Festival, where we have producers of movies coming to talk about their art. 14 internationally known artists are coming to the Performing Arts Building to showcase their work. These are the kinds of things that we're bringing to the city of Daytona Beach. And we'd like to ask that this group be in support of a request of $24,000. We utilized $27,000 to tear down a building. It needed to be torn down. But we also need to build some things. We need to build some culture, some art that is a reflection of the cultural aspects of the community that we're talking about. And it is my hope that you will support this request, that you will support the Mary McLeod Bethune Cultural Heritage Arts Festival, because it is a wonderful way to reflect our community in the life of Mary McLeod Bethune. Who better for us to want to highlight? You know, Zora Hurston is right down the road. Tens of thousands of people go to that festival every year. And it grew from a really small concept to be a major income-producing festival. We could do the same thing here, and we could do it better, because we have so much more to offer. So I thank you for your consideration. I'm willing to answer any questions you might have, and I really look forward to your support and your participation, because we want to see all of you at the events. The awards banquet will give national awards to people like Jeffrey Canada, who started the Children's Zone in Harlem. He is a national educator. He's coming to Daytona Beach. Melba Moore, some of the entertainment, Miles J. Wonderful jazz people are coming to perform, and many of them are donating their time. They're just coming because they want to also pay respects to Mary McLeod Bethune. So as you're looking through the information, know that most of what we're doing, people are giving, not just asking for something. And it's my hope that the City of Daytona Beach and Midtown Board in particular will do the same. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Question. I know this is a great festival that they have been, well, I'm a part of it also, putting together for the past year and a half. Now, my question is, you're asking the Midtown Board for $24,000, right? Okay, do we have $24,000?
We got another speaker.
Oh, okay.
Then we can deal with that.
Oh.
Okay.
I just want to know about the money.
All right, Mr. McLeod.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is John Mark McLeod, and I'm a student at Bethune-Cookman University.
Address.
7 Tanager Court, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32117. I heard recently in past discussions just now about the food disparity. Or I believe there's another disparity that we have. There is a heritage and cultural disparity. And this festival uncovers the backbone of what we need. And as student, as a young person, as a young African American, to realize the history and the prominence of Mary McLeod Bethune in my life, no matter where I came from. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up here. This is my hometown. And there's a lot of people who come here from all over, California, Texas, New York, and they say, what is there to do here? because they've came from very cultural, diverse areas. And they're looking, they're thirsting, they're hungry for something here. What do we have to offer them? There's Mary McLeod Bethune. That's somewhere to start. That's somewhere to get them to know more of who they are, because they're 18, some 22, some 25 coming in, hungry, thirsty. And I know I was. But I'm learning and I'm being fed through not just by her, but of course, the visionary who is her grandmother, Mary McLeod Bethune. So I ask y'all to please support this. It is more than about money. It's more about our lives, about the impact of what the future can do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Now, Mrs. Hurd.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I am in support of the cultural festival that is being given in place April the 6th in the Midtown area. $24,000, whatever it takes. I hopefully the Midtown Board and the city will be able.
That's it?
That's going to be it, just support.
All right. Dr. Jameson?
My concern, last year sometimes, during a meeting, we were abruptly told that the police department needed money and we needed to approve them getting 80,000 or something. Okay, and they came to the meeting that day and asked, and we approved it. That we shouldn't have done. I don't know what money we control. I don't know what money, because we may have 100,000. We've given the police department 80,000, and this 20,000 will be the last. So I'm concerned, that we get this tonight, and you ask for $24,000 tonight. I need a little bit more advance notice, okay? Bills give it 30 days, okay? So I don't know what money the Midtown Board controls, I'm telling you the truth. And I don't want to, again, do what we did to the police department. We gave them money, and I don't know if we gave them all our money.
That's right.
Because I don't have any idea what money we have, and that's something else I want to address a little later on about money. But I don't like you walking in one night and say, we got this, give me a lot of papers that I can't even read because we're meeting, and then requesting 24. So I'm asking that we table any approval of any money until we get a chance to read it and do whatever we need to do. And, excuse me, I support the Heritage Foundation, but given the board's responsibility, I like to know what money are we giving away. Is it Midtown money or is it city money? And if it's city money, you need to go to the city commissioner and ask for this. If it's Midtown money, I want to know what Midtown money there is.
Point well taken.
And pretty much I concur. I'm not in a position tonight to approve or disapprove of any of it, not knowing what I'd like to have that information prior to making a decision. And I too will agree that we table it until the information is being provided properly. In addition, I'll also want to know what have we funded from the Midtown Board in the past also.
When will we have a budget given?
Excuse me.
Use your mic.
I'll wholeheartedly concur with Dr. Jameson that we need to know how much money we have, and we need to know what we're liable for. My understanding is we may have a debt owing of $250,000.
Okay. And where did you get that?
From sources.
Well, Well, since you're not a newspaper, you need to divulge your sources.
I got it from good sources.
Yep, I understand.
It's something we need to know, and that's what we're asking about here.
Mr. Chairman, we have staff here. Could you all elaborate on the debt that we may have?
I'm going to elaborate, if I may, on a couple things I've already heard. One, while there were some people here from the police department who asked some questions and threw some numbers out there, we did not approve or fund anything. This board, I've said it many times, can't approve any funding, doesn't have any authority, you don't have the responsibility for that. But you do have the advisory purpose, and you can certainly say, look, we think this is a good festival, this is a good program, we recommend that when this goes before the commission, and I think that will be happening here, there'll be a discussion and an opportunity to educate everyone about this festival, and then for those who do have the authority they're going to hear from a lot of different people, I'm sure, and this is one body that can certainly weigh in and say, look, we think this is a good idea. Again, it's not about the money.
That's right.
It's about the point of the purpose, and what does it mean to Midtown. So I don't think we have to get so focused on the dollars. Now, to the point of dollars in our budget and just overall, right now in terms of where we're at, we have enough money to pay part of Charles' salary out of that. For us to sit up here, and that's about it in our operating fund. And it's pretty serious in terms of the revenue, because we've had each year the assessments continue to decline, okay? That's a serious issue. The other side of it is in the capital accounts. You have one place where that money is all sitting right now, and it's there for one purpose only, and I bet you know what that is. Orange Avenue.
Orange Avenue.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think the bids have been open. They're going through and figuring out the dollars and cents, and then there's going to be some decisions made about the sources of funds, as grants. There's a lot of things at play here as to how much will be required of that money. But if there's going to be money coming from any CRA fund, that's the only place it can come from right now. So it's again, it's there, and the final thing is there is a debt. There's a debt that we've always had on the sidewalk, curb, all the crosswalks, everything you've seen out there. There is a loan for that debt, and we are paying that back.
The amount of that?
The amount is $216,000 a year. Okay, right now we can't pay that. There's a deferral of some of that money right now on that principal amount.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I make a motion?
Sure.
That we vote to approve support of the Bethune Heritage Festival, so that can be part of the request for the Bethune Heritage to the City Commission for that money.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we go on record as supporting the Heritage Festival and be...
Mr. Chair, I want clarity as far as what supporting means, whether we're supporting them as far as the festival or financially.
No.
That's what I'm about to get into now.
Thank you.
Supporting them when they go before the City Commission to request financing. We are not going to be doing the financing. We will be in support of the festival. Okay.
Question again with clarity. Again, I don't want to get into a place where you support one agency or one entity and not support another. I think the festival will be a great asset, absolutely. But for supporting them towards getting funding, I don't want to be, I think there will be a conflict because, again, everybody that comes in, you'll have to support them or deny the support to them if they go before the commission. I think as a board, we should just decide whether we're going to support them as far as the festival going forth and not the financial part.
Okay. Well, we're ready for any unreadiness now, so you're in order.
Okay.
Any other unreadiness? Any other discussion on what was said? There is a motion on the floor. Are you ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor of supporting Mary McLeod Bethune Festival when it goes before the City Commission, let it be signified by the sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by the same sign.
Nay.
Nay. And again, that goes because it was not clearly stated in the motion for the finance piece.
Okay. All right. Based on just 2 nays, it appears that the motion passed at the opinion of the chair. We do need to make sure that we understand that we as a board cannot fund anything. We don't have that authority. We are advising the City Commission. We're an advisory board. We are not a funding entity. It's amazing to me that we talk about a debt of $216,000 a year that is the responsibility of an advisory board. That kind of troubles me.
I'm sorry, there's no responsibility of the advisory board.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought Kim was
let me
asking.
make it real clear. Comes to the money, that's the Community Redevelopment Agency's job.
But we have debt service, do we not?
Yes, we do.
So we don't have to pay.
And we don't have the money to pay.
The "we" that Reed is referring to is the redevelopment trust fund for the Midtown area.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the redevelopment trust fund is the servicing entity.
Well, the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, which is actually the City Commission, wearing a different
2 hats,
hat at
right.
this meeting. They administer the redevelopment trust funds.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And the CRAs are open to the public?
Yes, when we have quarterly meetings, there was one last week. We had a Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. The quarterly budget was presented there with an amendment. So that went through and was approved by the CRA. And they meet at 6 o'clock when they do have the meetings. We'll call special meetings, and that's all on the agendas that you'll see online or on the paper notices.
Okay, and since that is a public meeting, then that is public record.
Yes, absolutely. The minutes, everything else is online for everyone to see.
All right. All right. We are now down to board comments. We'll begin with Mr. Barhoot.
No further comments. Thank you.
Mr. Ross?
None at this time.
Dr. Jameson?
I have 5 minutes.
I'm timing.
Okay, I got something to say. And I wrote it down so I won't miss anything, and I will say it quickly. I'm going to read it quickly, okay? Bear with me. I came to the RFP interviews. Most of you know what those are. Very confused, the first meeting. I wondered why Midtown Board was an afterthought and was not central to the process. During the first presentation, one of the presenters, when asked about the Midtown Board, said, given the secrecy, and he said that a couple of times, I wondered who they were being secretive from when some people knew enough that they had time to create a new nonprofit organization. Maybe the only people who didn't know what was going on was the Midtown Board. I heard a lot about city land, city-owned land, land that was drug infested, land that was abandoned, and I wonder, had these people ever been in Midtown, where there is no large city-owned parcel, no large abandoned area. And when I saw the pictures of their industrial development in large area, I suspected that there were going to be a lot of people having to move out of Midtown if they got their wishes. The second group also asked about what assets the city controlled. Commissioner Reed told me later that the nonprofit was formed because they could do what the Midtown Board can't do. And maybe she was right, because the Midtown Board was asked to do nothing. In the first interview, Commissioner Reed mentioned that she had asked Midtown people to be invited to the RFP interviews. But when I looked around the room, I didn't see any Midtown Board but me and Midtown members and Kathy Washington. Okay. Creamer Hayes and his wife don't live in Midtown. Thad Collins don't live in Midtown. Reverend Gooden don't live in Midtown. So I don't know who was invited to that meeting, but Midtown was not invited to those meetings. One consultant says that when they meet with the people, they're going to say, this is what is coming. Not what do you want, what do you need, what are you willing to sacrifice your neighborhood or home for. He said what they're going to do is say, this is what's coming. Citizen participation government style. The last thing I want to talk about, I looked at the money when I came out of these RFP interviews. We've spent $70,000 on the FAMU plan, $60,000 on the economic plan, the little market plan. The first group is asking for $150,000 on the first group's plan, new plan. $175,000 on implementation of their new plan. $15,000 on some staffing issues. If you add all that money up, that'll be $340,000 spent on Midtown planning. Not doing anything, just planning. I am no longer confused after I left at a meeting. As I told our good friend Bill, you can see a whole lot of money being spent in Midtown, but you cannot see the residents benefiting from it. Last little note. My house used to be on George Ingram Boulevard, at the spot right where Friendship and BCC building is. A brand new house. Okay. The city came in to help, and they tore down the brand new house and everything around it. Does that look like a community to you now on George Ingram, 2 churches, and it looks like an abandoned street? I am concerned about this RFP, this new plan, this new, I'm going to fix Midtown. What Midtown is going to wind up being is, you can't develop the beach anymore. Downtown not going to let you bother it, but now Daytona wants a new development area, and if we don't watch out, Midtown is going to be that area. I'm finished.
Thank you, ma'am. Well said.
You went to the same church.
And on that note,
Mr. Fuqua.
No comments at this time.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, I have a comment. I just want to thank the assistant city attorney of educators on the sunshine and all the rules and regulations that we need to comply with. And thank you to Mr. Reed for your support, and for Charles, I really appreciate it, and I'm here because of you, and I'm happy to be a part of the Midtown Redevelopment Board.
Mr. McGee.
And I'm not planning on rubber stamping everything that comes with it.
Your mic.
Hello. I submitted my resignation on the board today, effective in 2 months, on health issues. The last meeting that we had here, I ended up in the hospital the next day for 5 days.
Oh, my.
And it had nothing to do with the meeting, it just had something I shouldn't have been there. And there are things that I know that needs to be transferred to others with respect to how we've done walk through all this planning. And also how much money we actually have, how much we need. We're looking at and I'm going to get into comments here. We do have this debt service problem, which it was a surprise to me and evidently to others. And you know I have problems with my memory. There's evidently an allocation of $20 million, is that right, for Orange Avenue? That's in that fund. And if that money is, my understanding is if that money is used, then we have an ongoing problem with how do we keep these gentlemen off the streets and out of trouble. My personal opinion is that if I had to choose between Orange Avenue, and I know a lot of people want that fixed, and if I had to choose between Orange Avenue and ISB, I'd have to pick. ISB can fix Orange Avenue. Orange Avenue cannot fix ISB. The money just isn't there. The only piece of property that the city owns is the old police station. That's it. We're sort of go through these meetings and we're not dealing with reality. We need to start doing so. That's all.
All right. Ms. Hurd?
Everything has been very interesting tonight, and just making a comment from Dr. Jameson, that was interesting what she had to say. And actually, we really need to look at, and I've said this before, the boundaries of Midtown. Those names that she called, they do not live in Midtown. And actually, my home is 10 feet from Midtown, because that's the way the boundaries are cut. So I am asking, if we continue to have Midtown, we need to go back and look at the boundaries. Hopefully we will, the commission will take under consideration the cultural fair. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure after you read the information that is given tonight, I will be seeing maybe some of the board members in attendance also. And be careful out there. It's Bike Week. We have many visitors in town, and they're here just to enjoy, not to interrupt, but to enjoy in our city. Thank you, and have a good night.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. There was something I omitted, if I may.
Yes.
I was noticing, I was on Nova Road, and I was looking at the sign that says George Ingram Boulevard. Of all the signs throughout the city, it is decaying, believe it or not. The name George Ingram Boulevard, right there on Nova Road and George Ingram Boulevard. I would truly like the city to give us some consideration, at least have a newer sign where it's not fading and you can't even see the name George Ingram Boulevard. And something else, I would love to have the opportunity of hearing from the code enforcement individuals who handle our district. It's one thing to look at a report and see whose grass haven't been cut, but I'm really curious what those two individuals who work our areas will say about what's going on in our neighborhood. From that point of view, I don't know whether or not we can get them to come here. Charles, I don't know, but I would love to hear from them.
All right.
What they perceive as our major problem and what we need to address.
Then, if we could make a note to have them here for the next meeting, please, sir. And my comments, one of the things that I think that we, as a board, need to deal with is some of the things that we just heard addressed. The monies that are being allocated that a lot of us on the board know nothing about. For instance, yes, it's a trust fund that is taking care, the Redevelopment Trust is taking care of certain things that Mr. McGee brought up, but the CRA is overseeing that trust, and we have no idea what's available in the trust, so that when we advise certain things, we don't even know if there's anything there to take care of that, based on the outstanding debt. Secondly, we have asked everyone to contact Mr. Bryant with a time that they would like to have a workshop. And I told him that I would make myself available whenever the board came up with the time. We need to do that because there are some new members, not just the newly appointed ones, but we also, Mr. Bahu has not been in a workshop, so that we can go over some things with that. And not right now, Dr. Jameson. But we need to contact Mr. Bryant and let him know our times that we would like to have a workshop. You can email him and let him know, and we can make that time public so that others can be there. Another thing that we need to deal with is that we need to get more Midtown involvement in our meetings. They need to be here to hear what's going on so that they themselves know firsthand what's going on. Because until I came to one of the Midtown meetings, I was believing everything they were saying out there on the streets, and it wasn't true. And when I came to the meetings, I came and told Ms. Ponder at that time, I said, I'm here because I wanted to hear, and what I heard wasn't right. So you got my support. Those are the things that we have to do. We have to make sure that our constituents, regardless of what we feel about an issue, what is it going to do for our constituency? That is the main focus that we need. I am 150% behind dealing with Dollar General to see about them opening a marketplace. I understand what was said. I understand the square footage and all of that. But I also know that where there's a will, there's a way. And we need to make some strong stands on some things. A lot of things are being pacified, for lack of a better way of saying it. And because it is being pacified, it seems to be being swept under the rug. Yes, we get here and we mention certain things. Former board member Mrs. Cato used to constantly say that Midtown is being taken as a joke.
Do what?
Yes, she used to say that.
What?
Midtown is being taken as a joke.
Oh.
But it more seems that we need to make some very strong advisory issues to our city commission. and something with a little bit more character of Midtown in it. Let us come together, please ma'am, please sir, if you would please email Mr. Bryant with the times that you would be available for a workshop so that we can put that in place.
Is there a time period, a slot?
No, that's what we're asking for.
How long is the meeting?
The workshop, until we can resolve the things that we need to. The training mainly is what I want to do, go over what the board is required for. I would venture to say shouldn't take any more than 2.5 hours. And the reason I say that is because many times we get to discussing things that we need to deal with. But the other thing is that will also allow us to know what Midtown Board really deals with. Okay? Those are issues that we really need to talk about. We also, I want to thank everyone for coming out. And again, welcome our new members.
Mr. Chairman, it's not board related, but I want to say one thing before you end, please. Well, I don't know, too many people know, but my sister, who's a long-time teacher here in Daytona Beach, died Sunday. Betty Brown Hawkins, and her funeral is going to be Tuesday at 11 o'clock at Newmont Eye.
All right. And we need to get a resolution for her.
I have a request.
Okay.
I would like to know where the 5 mini centers are. And show the lots. I don't know that this thing works. And that's one of the primary backbones of our planning.
Okay, we do have that shown in the Midtown plan, and we've transferred that for the comp plan change. That's right, it's a drawing.
That's all you have.
No, we actually have the parcels marked. We'll share that with you. Okay?
Very kind of you.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it was brought to my attention that we have been selling city property in the Midtown Redevelopment District. Be able some type of process. And these individuals who purchase these properties from the city, I really hate for them to buy the property and do absolutely nothing with it. It should be a recommendation that they put something on it within a certain period of time. Because it's just a waste of resources to give these individuals property. And I know a couple of them on Mary McLeod Boulevard that it was stated when I was on the commission that they would be putting something there, and there's nothing there. And it's been 20 years since I've been on the commission. And so my point of it is, the people not doing anything with our property, why can't we take our property back because they didn't meet their requirements, so that we can bring somebody in who's going to help develop our property? We have so many vacant lots, abandoned buildings, and folks who are just there for rental property, and they don't have any interest in our community and don't care. So we really need to begin to conduct ourselves accordingly if we plan on developing a community.
That is something that has to be addressed to the city commission, but I'm in agreement with you. We as a board can advise certain things, but let's do something about it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, the properties that are being sold, they are sold to property owners that have a property near them. Say, for instance, their home is there, and the property is not a buildable lot. They're able to purchase that lot to expand on their own residence area. The other lots do have stipulations on time frames that they have to develop that lot, and they are not basically being sold to individuals that are going to not build on that property, or they're going to build a house and rent it. We have a committee that has been going through and reviewing, and actually we did it last week, I think it was, that we went through these properties, and we have, the city has a right to reject that offer. It's not because they made the offer, they're the lowest bidder. If they don't meet the certain stipulations that we have in the RFP, then the city won't sell them that lot. But it's not, it's basically being sold for a person to expand their lot, their non-buildable lots, and for people who want to build a lot, that they're going to be basically, they have a stipulation, a time frame that they have to do something with that lot.
So what is the time frame we're speaking of, and Mr. Miller is speaking of also? When he said he was on the commission 20 years ago, I know what you were saying. Oh, that's okay. I know what you're saying, Mr. Miller. So if we go and let people purchase property, and it takes 15 or 20 years for them to develop it, he's saying there should be some type of stipulation there indicating that the city can go back and repurchase that piece of property.
Actually, when they fill out the application, it has on the response to the RFP, it has what are you going to do with the lot, what is the time frame that you're going to take to do that. So we're looking at that, and maybe attorney can expand on how.
So how can we check on that?
Just a minute. Let us begin to research this, and we will come back at the next meeting to deal with this. All the board comments have been made. The only thing that we are here now as a point of order is a motion for adjournment.
I second that motion.
Meeting adjourned.